Notes 2.5, word problems with scientific notation. So we've learned adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. We know how to adjust numbers to put them into proper scientific notation. We know how to go from scientific notation to standard form. Now let's take and apply them. So we have the first question here. The outer wall of a large tourist attraction in Cambodia is about 1.1 times 10 to the third meters long and 8.1 times 10 to the second meters wide. So they're giving us the dimensions of this. It says find the approximate area of the area enclosed by the outer wall. So we're talking about area. So area is the length times the width. So if we know that it's length times width, we're going to take 1.1 times 10 to the third power times our width, 8.1 times 10 to the second power. So now we just have a multiplication problem. We know we need to multiply coefficients together, so I'm going to rewrite the coefficients next to each other, and then we multiply the powers of 10 with each other. So now let's do some calculation. 1.1 times 8.1. Go right to your calculator to do that. So 1.1 times 8.1 on your calculator. You should get 8.91 times, now 10 to the third times 10 to the second is 10 to the fifth. Examine your final answer, look at your coefficient. Is that between 1 and 10? It is. There's our answer. There's the area because we used multiplication. So now let's go to question number 2. Mine is a little bit past here on my document. Okay. So question number 2 says, the planet Mercury has approximately a mass of 3.3 times 10 to the 23rd kilograms. That's a really big number, give a really big positive exponent there. Mars has a mass of 6.4 times 10 to the 23rd kilograms. How many times as great as the mass of Mercury is the mass of Mars? So we want to take and think about, and then it says round the coefficient to the nearest tenth. So we have to do one last step at the end. So we're going to take the mass of Mercury. So we're trying to figure out how many times as great as the mass of Mercury is. So we're going to divide. So that's 3.3 times 10 to the 23rd divided by, I'm going to use my fraction bar as my division, 6.4 times 10 to the 23rd. Now from there, when we know when we need to divide, we're going to divide our coefficients. So you're going to go to your calculator and you're going to do 3.3 divided by 6.4. So 3.3 divided by 6.4, and you should come up with 0.5152625, something pretty long, okay? And then let's do the same thing with our powers of 10. 10 to the 23rd divided by 10 to the 23rd, well, we end up with, we subtract our exponents, so we end up with 10 to the 0 power. And now let's look at this. This is not in proper scientific notation. What place value is that 5 in? That's in the tenths spot. So tenths means 10 to the -1. So when we rewrite our coefficient, 15625 times, we need to bring in that 10 to the -1 times that 10 to the 0 power that we had from initially starting out. Now this is almost to proper scientific notation. So I'd say 5.15625 times add those exponents and we get 10 to the negative 1. But what did the initial question also say? Coefficient to the nearest 10th. So we want to round our final answer and say just 5.2 times 10 to the negative 1. That is the answer that the problem's asking for, a rounded answer. Okay, 5.2 times 10 to the negative 1. Number 3 says that there's a couple words missing there, so I'm going to fill those in. And it's the Pacific. I don't know what happened to those 2 words, they got cut off. The Pacific Ocean is 6.4 times 10 to the 7th square miles. So there's an important piece of information. The area of the Arctic Ocean, okay, is 5.4 times 10 to the 4th. I'm going to erase this one so we can see. Find the approximate sum of the areas of the 2 oceans. Okay? The sum of the areas. So that key word there, sum. Okay, sum means to add. So we're going to take our 2 areas, and they're asking us to add them together. So when we add, okay, we need to have like exponents. So do I have like exponents right now? When I examine them, I see a 7 and I see a 4. Those are not like exponents, so we have to make that happen. So I'm going to choose to make everything a 4. So I've got a 7 or a 4. I'm going to pick to make everything 4. So I'm going to leave that 5.4 times 10 to the 4th alone. I'm not going to do anything with it right now because I'm choosing to get everything to have a 10 to the 4th. So I have to rework the 6.4 times 10 to the 7th. So I'm going to start out and leave my coefficient alone. Well, how can I rewrite that 10 to the 7th with a 10 to the 4th power? 10 to the 4th times 10 to what exponent would give me a 7? 4 plus what gives me 7? And it's a 3. Remember, we picked to the 4th power. That's what we picked to get them to have. So now what do we do to continue? We've got to multiply that 10 to the 3rd times that 6.4 before we can finish up and add. So I'm going to have to go down here a little bit. So if I take my 6.4 times 10 to the 3rd, that's 6.4 times 1,000. So I end up with 6,400 times 10 to the 4th. Now, plus my 5.4 times 10 to the 4th. Now I have like exponents. Now I can go ahead and add those 2 together. So I'm going to add my coefficients. That's 6,400 plus the 5.4. So I should get 6,400 5.4 and leave the exponent alone because we worked so hard to get it, so it's 10 to the 4th. Now let's ask ourselves, is 6,405 in proper standard scientific notation? It's not. Where would we place our decimal? I'm going to put a little arrow here. We would place our decimal 6.4054. We have the 10 to the 4th already there. Okay. So what do we end up with? Okay. So what was this place value? The ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. okay, thousands place. So that's times 10 to the third. Now finish it up. Add those exponents. 6.4054 times 10 to the 7th power. It's going to be my final answer. Okay, that was definitely a workout. Okay, that was a lot to think about. Okay, so now letter B. Okay, I'm going to leave you with letter B. We've done one like letter B, and see if you can do that one on your own. I'm going to circle it because I did right over it. Okay, see if you can do letter B and show me in class. And then number 4, if you can do that one on your own and it's right, I might even give you some extra homework points from that. Okay? So nothing new. We added, we multiplied, we divided. We didn't do any subtraction, but the subtraction is the same thing as the adding, the steps at least. We just have to subtract. So practice, practice, practice. Go ahead, try number 4, see what you can do with it, and try letter B. Nice job, boys and girls.